This is Bob and Hilda Boucher, my grandparents, or as I call them, Omar and Opar. They were married in 1948, Hilda having left Germany to marry Bob, a soldier from London. Together they had 4 children: Jimmy, Vanessa, Jackie, and my father, Andrew. Since my grandmother's death last year, I'd begun thinking about my relationship with my father. I found myself seeking a connection, a desire to know more about him. I realised I knew nothing of his life growing up in a mixed-race family. I knew nothing about his, and in a sense, my identity as a mixed-race man. I thought if I could discover this aspect of his life, perhaps I could better understand who he is now. Perhaps I could make a connection. How are you feeling about everything here? I mean, talking about it, is it weird talking about it? Is it?
No, not at all really. No, it's interesting. I mean, I've been thinking about different aspects of being younger and growing up, and sort of reattaching myself to those memories and feelings. But you know, I've been through quite a lot of that recently because of Omar passing away. So you kind of do, you know, it makes you reflect on your childhood and growing up and other bits of your life. So I'm pretty relaxed about it. It's nice that it's being captured.
You ready?
Yeah, ready when you are.
If you'd like to talk a little bit about your childhood, about what it was like growing up, where you did and when you did.
Yeah, can do that for you. Well, I grew up basically in the late 60s, 70s. That was when my childhood was. Grew up in a southwest London council estate. Quite a nice estate as council estates go. Could get a bit violent from time to time, normally on a Saturday night. But everyone knew everyone, all the neighbours were kind of good friends. So it's quite a close-knit community. The fact that you had a black guy and a white woman who was German living and being married in the post-war period in southwest London. Highly unusual combination. Quite strange how accepting the community was. I mean, I had a whole bunch of friends that I don't think they saw the colour, or indeed, you know, the fact that Omar was a German living in just post-war Britain. There have been times in my life when I would have not disclosed as much. And I'm not quite sure why that is now in retrospect. I feel quite phony because if you look at me, I don't obviously look from a mixed race background. I am mixed race. My ethnicity is more around culture rather than skin tone. I do sometimes think that would life have been different if I was more obviously mixed race? Hearing my dad's stories as much as anything else. He growing up in the 1930s, suffered quite a lot, he felt, because of his skin colour, and that's no reason to doubt that. But he was ashamed of his skin colour. He felt that it held him back, and I remember him telling me that he was so glad he gave me the gift of looking like I do, rather than darker, which was awful, really. You know, to have someone that hated everything about their skin colour that was quite difficult. And essentially being sort of first generation English, you kind of feel a bit rootless. I think that's the description as much as anything else. So where do I belong? I suppose my identity is more anchored in values, is what I believe in and what I think. I think part of that, you know, subconsciously is informed by coming from a mixed race background, because you're just, you know, it's part of the background noise. There were probably 2, maybe 3 people from different ethnic backgrounds on that estate, so it was, you know, it was quite stark.
My father's life on the estate seems to have had a large impact on him. We drive there so he can show me around.
That is where we used to live. And this is what we call the back. You know, it looks pretty much the same as it always is. I mean, the trees have changed a little bit, and they've got rid of the playground. That's sad, because I think there's what it says is, as a community, it's changed. It's changed to a much more transient community, and a community that he didn't have families, because this estate was obviously built for families more than anything else. You know, there were a lot of people that knew each other for 20, 30 years, and we all grew up in the same sort of environment, but it's gone. There is the sort of comfort blanket element of childhood, which is about, you know, certain moments in time when the world felt safe and secure and you didn't have to worry about things so much. And so elements of that, you know, I suppose closing the door on Omar's flat was, that bit's gone, that bit of comfort blanket's gone. Now, who was it? I can't remember who it was, but I do remember looking out the back there once and seeing someone naked in one of the windows. I think they'd gotten up and hadn't, just kind of, oh. So yeah, that's the back. When I was growing up, I think there was always this sense of being wanting to see the outside world, because it felt very much like a bubble. As I said, it was a community, but you know, life could be pretty ugly around here, and so education and sort of enlightenment represented beauty. Here's the school. It's near identical. I mean, the building, the main building, is the exact same. There's a little bit of fencing going up. Very, very similar. You get microculture, so the culture around there, the sorts of people around there, where French and Drive, which is where I live, we always felt that Stroud Crescent, which is just over there, people were a bit more dangerous.
Right.
I mean, it's just weird, isn't it?
So
it's
subcultures within subcultures.
Yeah. Which led to fights inevitably.
But not with you.
No, I just run away basically because I'm a.
No, that's fair enough.
Yes, I had the runaway dream. I found the place very claustrophobic. Essentially, from when I was 18, I moved out, and the world was enormous. You know, the world was exciting and it's very colourful and brilliant. You know, I remember coming back into my bedroom thinking nothing's changed. Omar was pretty much an alcoholic by the time I was growing up. You know, there's always that air of violence that loomed in the house when Opar came home. He then became a dad really quickly, and that meant he had to not pursue the music so much, but get a more stable job. And so he never really quite got to do what he wanted to do with his music. They just lived a life of regret in terms of, you know, they had ambitions of their own lives that they never fulfilled. They didn't really have time to focus on bringing the kids up. So that's the way it was. Should we get in the car?
Yes,
a bit nippy.
let's.
Like any relationship, you've got a common sense of background. And that could be race, or it could be where we grew up. What binds us together is that appreciation of each other, that acceptance of who we are, that respect of differing points of view, and tolerance. And somehow that all squishes together to form a sort of really sort of deep bond of love between us. Having people that you know love and respect, that you can share things is one of the sort of richest things you can have in life, which kind of transcends any sort of material stuff. The pride and sort of sense of legacy and family, that's what it's about for me. It's keeping the family alive and the family's memories alive. It is a legacy I'd like to leave. Oh dear, that door went then.
Oh, it's okay. That's fine.
That's why I can't. That's really blown it now. Should we start that question again?